Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the Prince of Storm and got Harem in My Little Pony universe? Part 7. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. A nondescript mare with brownish mane and white fur was calmly walking through the streets with a thoughtful expression on her face, sometimes scrunching her nose into worry whenever her thoughts turned darker, before she forcefully brightened them to not succumb to despair. No one would think that the normal everyday mare they were walking past was in truth Princess Luna, hidden under a thick layer of illusory magic, walking in complete anonymity towards the shop of one of the few real friends, Reed. That would not use their being her friends to gain something, to seek comfort and a friendly shoulder to whine on. "Hello. How can I help you, dear?" A young unicorn mare with frizzy black mane and red-rimmed glasses asked with a thin accent and a wide smile as soon as the masked Luna entered the shop. "Is Luce free?" Luna asked, sighing. "I am here, Kara. And dear me, you need a miracle for those tousled hair you call a mane. Totally unrefined." A new voice answered jokingly, this time a white-furred unicorn stallion with slick-back black mane, adorned by a single fringe tinted in crimson red that was instead left hanging forward to cover his right eye. "Para Italian for darling. I need a friendly hoof to fix this mess and other things. I have an appointment, named Sweet Moon," Luna answered with narrowed eyes. "Oh. Come with me then." Luce answered with his eyes slightly widening. "Lucky. Silver. I will be in the VIP room. This needs my full attention, so do not disturb me unless it's a life or death thing," the stallion yelled at the other side of the room. "Yes, boss," a duo of unicorn twins answered as one while still working on their respective customers. "Life or death? You mean something like the actor Stronghorn coming here?" Luna asked jokingly. That hunk will come here one of these days. It's only a matter of time. I'll give him another week, then I will resort to drastic measures to help him decide," Luce answered with an haughty huff as the two walked towards the back of the shop. "Like what? Burning down every other main styling shop in Canterlit and near area?" Luna said, giggling. "That is not a bad idea actually, Kara. Now, please tell me what brings the most fabulous queen of the night in my humble shop," Luce answered, smirking as he sealed the door shut and watching Luna drop her illusion to sit on one of the comfy-looking chairs. "It's Princess, Luce. Not queen," the alicorn corrected while sighing in delight as her favorite brand of shampoo rapidly turned her mane in a fluffy cloud of foam under the expert and gentle guidance of Luce's magic. Yeah. You others call it like that, but I still say that queen suits you better, Luna. Una Regina," he answered while studying the mare's hooves with a calculative glaze. "The queen? It's Matila, idiota," Luna answered, laughing. "Stop it, idiot." "Oh. Some pony is learning Italian, why if I can ask?" Luce asked with a mischievous smirk. "Luce D'Angelo. You were the first one I befriended after my return, and I know that even after years here in Canterlit you still tend to go into ramblings in your mother tongue. I need to be sure you are not insulting me," the princess answered in mock seriousness. "I would never insult a friend, and you know why I still ramble. Papa never understood my love for mane styling, or the fact that I prefer stallions to mares, nor that my sister Puma's preference for mares to stallions was openly accepted either. Coming here to open our own shop was the only solution. Princess Celestia never seemed to mind, as long as we both actually love our companions and were sincere about our tastes, even if I still have to find the perfect pony," the unicorn answered, sighing as a comb was now passing through the still wet and lavender-scented mane of Luna. "You have to admit that for a stallion as religiously devoted as your father, seeing his two children prefer ponies of their own gender would have been quite a shock. You were supposed to be the heirs of the D'Angelo estate." The translated names of the brothers Luce D'Angelo and Puma D'Angelo are Angel's Light and Angel's Feather. "Hahaha. You talk as if we were rich or something. The estate is a mere house in the countryside. Well, my father was just a bigoted employee in a vineyard that hoped I would have married his boss daughter, you know, Soldi and all that stuff. I just embellished my life to attract more ponies when I moved here." "Soldi money," the other answered with an uncaring shrug. "And yet, here you are. Owner of a mane styling shop famous enough to force mares and stallions from all Canterlit to wait 3 months for an appointment," Luna answered, laughing. "And me and my sister take great pleasure in remembering our father, just that at every birthday of his in our letter, my hope is that by now he has pulled off every hair on his head in rage," Luce answered, smirking. "You meanie," she said, shaking her head. "Okay, now that we need to wait for my homemade look at me, you silly stallions, and wish I would date one of you losers while polishing your horns by yourselves balsam to work its magic on your mane. Tell me what brings you here. I know that it was not only my fabulous persona, the reason you came without an actual appointment, but using our secret password and an illusion." Luce asked as he dragged a chair closer to Luna before summoning in a flash of his horn tea and pastries from his secret stash. It's about the element bearers. Luna answered, sighing while taking a long sip from her mug. Ooh. I would love to put my hooves on a couple of them. Your sister's student and that shy Pegasus of her friend especially. I happened to see them at the Grand Galloping Gala and I have to say it, there was so much potential in them that was so totally untouched. Lou said, smirking. They awakened your artistic side. The Alicorn asked, smirking. Yep. So? What have they done to stress you this much? Your mane is always a step close from being perfect and as of late I saw so many split hair that weren't there before. What happened? They the princess said with watering eyes. Yes. Rainbow Dash deflowered my baby and the others plan to do the same. Why she bellowed before catching Luce in a crushing hug of despair. There. Lungs collapsing. I can see my grandpa behind and huge golden gate between the clouds. And light, so much light. The unicorn gasped while his face slowly turned blue from lack of oxygen. Stop joking. This is a serious matter. Luna said, snarling. So young Maelstrom is no longer virgin. I can't see where is the problem, he is no longer a cult. The other answered while catching his breath. The other elements are planning to have their way with him as well. Para. No offense, but I don't think he would be able to do it with all of them at once, Alicorn or not. We are talking about 5 mares here. Lou said slowly. And I remember you that he can create physical copies of himself. Luna answered bitterly. Oh. Say, are you sure he is really into mares? The main stylist asked innocently. Luce. Just kidding. Just kidding. But what am I supposed to do? The only member of the element bearers not romantically involved with my son is Rarity Bell, the element of generosity. Do you know her? Ooh. I think I heard something about her. She is the owner of a small boutique in Ponyville, am I right? Luce answered. Your gossip network is still as widespread as I hoped, good. Luna said, pleased. Hey. Just because I am a main stylist and stallion sexual it doesn't mean that I always gossip about everything. Lou said, greatly offended. In answer the princess just looked at him intently with narrowed eyes. Oh okay, maybe I do exchange a comment or two with my sister and the others after my customers leave my shop, but not always. The mayor's eyes narrowed further. Okay. In my case is not a cliché or a stereotype since I do gossip a lot. Happy. The stallion admitted, huffing. Very much so. As I said, Miss Rarity is the sister figure of Maelstrom and the friendly ear of the elements fawning over him, so I need you to crack her head open and tell me everything she knows. Luna said with a cold tone. Ah. You are asking me something difficult. She is both a gossiper like me and a dear friend of them ponies like us that made of gossip and art know how to not share trivia whenever we want to keep a secret. Lou said, taking in an hissing breath of surprise. That's why I asked you, you have your unmatched silver tongue and wit and that. Luna said, motioning her head towards an hidden cabinet closed by heavy chains. Why, you are not asking me to use my heaven's shampoo, right? Your sister in person prohibited me. It's too relaxing. Too powerful. Lou said, shocked. I know it is, that's why I want you to use it. Your special blend. So relaxing to even have veteran spies and soldiers crumble in bliss and become putty in your hooves. I want you to use it on Rarity Bell for me undiluted. Ah. Holy mother of the first stallion. Luce yelled in pure fear, jumping away from Luna while moving in hoof through the sign of the cross and muttering prayers by the dozen. What's wrong? You don't want to help your friend? Your dear friend Luna? Luna asked, stalking closer to the scared main stylist. Be beggin' foul temptress. Luce whimpered as the princess moved closer, forcing him to press his back against the wall. Rarity Bell is the only thing that is keeping me from protecting my son's virtue from further corruption, and I need your help to know what she knows. Help me, Luce. Help your dear friend Luna. The Alicorn whispered in the stallion's ear, making him gulp loudly. I know you want to use it, I know you are proud of your homemade shampoo and wish to show it off to every pony and be adored for its quality and divine scent, she added with an hot whisper. What do I get in exchange? Lou said with a weak tone as he finally succumbed to temptation. I'll personally make sure you'll get the due permissions to enlarge your shop. You will finally get the spa area you always dreamed to add to this establishment. Luna whispered, nuzzling her friend. A spa. W with sauna and massages. He said, whimpering. Yes. And beauty masks and jacuzzis too. You just have to help me. She added while gently blowing in his ear. Ayaha beauty masks jacuzzi, he muttered with a moan as his eyes rolled on the back of his head. Think about all the high-class mares that will come here, about all the actors and VIP stallions that will throw themselves at your hooves to get an appointment, all yours. Just say yes and I will turn your dreams into reality. Okay, I accept. Luce finally said in defeat. Yay. Thank you. I knew I would have been able to count on you. Luna gushed happily while hugging her friend. I have sold my soul to the devil for a sauna. The unicorn said, sighing. No, you are helping a friend and a mother to keep her son safe, please don't be sad. Luna said, nudging him. I still feel dirty. I'll take the full blame if we are discovered, better. She proposed. Just do not exaggerate with your retribution to them, please. I'll be gentle, I promise. So. Can you free a slot for Rarity Bell tomorrow in the morning? I want to start immediately. Luna asked. Tomorrow morning. I'll have to switch Madame Rosie Hoove's appointment with Rocky Bottom and have Lucky and Silver take care of Miss Testarossa, redhead, for me, but it's feasible. Luce answered with a thinking pose. Wonderful. And don't worry, even should you somehow fail, I'll still help you at the spa. I'll hold you on that, now get back on that seat so I can finish my job, you dirty mare. Where is your son now anyway? We need him away and occupied just in case. He answered, huffing. I'll be sure to keep him distracted the whole day tomorrow. As for now, he is back in his home village as he wanted to show it to Rainbow Dash. I just hope she won't use the occasion as an excuse to put her dirty hooves on him again. Ow, come on Kara. Do not jump immediately to the wrong conclusions. Your baby stallion is not that dirty. Luce answered, laughing. Meanwhile, elemental country's woods around Konoha. He was that dirty, he was enough to catch the glint in the now human eyes of Dash, still sporting rainbow-colored hair and an hairstyle, remembering him the counterpart he met when dealing with the Dazzlings, and letting her grab his wrist to drag him in a more isolated area, and he was even dirty enough to follow her wish to try doing it as humans. Oh, Celestia. And there they were doing it, over and over and over again. You asked for it, Dashy. So? Do you like? It feels so defiant. Lemon happened. What does it mean? Dash asked, panting. His eyes just burned in his memory, the two of us going at it, the prince answered, chuckling. And my brain is now trying to superimpose your bodies as ponies to it. I need a Yamanaka. I bleach. Alcohol. Something. The Uchiha heir said between gagging fits. Stop being a drama queen, team. As if we were doing anything wrong, Maelstrom said as he and Dash got up to fix their clothes. It is very wrong from my point of view. And for fuck's sake, zip your pants up. I don't want to see your junk. Sasuke answered, looking away again. Zip. Sorry. The other answered sheepishly. So? You came here for something else other than traumatize me? Sasuke asked. Dash said she wanted to see Konoha. Since the last time we were here, we have moved directly to Kumo for accompanying Luna Kasen to the Falls of Truth and never actually came here. So, do you want to help me play tour guide? Maelstrom answered, smirking. See Konoha? Is that why she is dressed in a jumpsuit identical to yours, but with cyan instead of orange? Sasuke said, pointing at the clothes Dash was wearing. Don't blame me. Rarity said that having matching clothes would have been a nice idea. Dash answered, shrugging, helpless. And it does wonders to her figure, the prince added, wiggling his eyebrows. Oh, come on. Stop it. The transformed mare said, laughing, amused. Fine, fine. Just as long as you two keep your pants on. The Uchiha heir answered, sighing. Is he always so flank hurt? Dash whispered. Nah. He must be in a good mood today, normally he is even worse. I can hear you. Sasuke answered, rising his voice, annoyed. We don't care. Both transformed ponies said in chorus before laughing out loudly. A match made in heaven. The Uchiha boy muttered, growling. Meanwhile, Ponyville Carousel Boutique. Rarity was humming to herself while fixing pins on a new creation of hers resting on a mannequin. Spike was standing near her with a basket full of said pins in his hands to help. When the bell on the door rang, neither of the two looked away from the dress and simply welcomed the new guest inside. Welcome to Carousel Boutique. You so much focused on your work to be unable even to spare a minute for a proper welcome. Did we came at the wrong moment? Luna asked with a devious smile. Yep. At that, Rarity jumped to attention as soon as she recognized who had just entered. Princess Luna. Welcome. The mayor said immediately while Spike rapidly moved the mannequin in the back. Relax, relax. I was joking, this is just a friendly visit, nothing more. The alicorn answered while distractingly studying the dresses at ready in the shop. It is? The unicorn asked, sweating as she kept watching the princess scan every nook and cranny of her creations with a critical eye. Sigh. Am I really that terrifying to you, Rarity Bell? Luna asked with a theatrical sigh while discreetly stealing a glance to the mayor with the corner of her eyes. And no. It's just a word of yours and my shop will be over. She answered. Can I ask why you think I hold this much power over your fate as a dressmaker? The alicorn asked, honestly confused. Well, you are a princess and I am not. Your words have weight, lots of it. There's the opening. The alicorn thought in joy. Yes, I am a princess, but I am not one to abuse her position with such levity and destroy the lives of whoever I don't like. To prove this I am going to ask you this question. Would you like to be treated like a princess? Even just for a day? She asked casually. To be treated like a princess for a day? Yoo-hoo. Yes. Rarity admitted, blushing and looking down at her hooves shyly. Yoo-hoo. Very well then. I have a friend that is the owner of a small main styling shop in Canterlot, and since he happens to like me, he always leaves a slot free for me in his schedule, in case I may need him for an emergency. Would you like to go to him for a full treatment in my stead? A full treatment? Rarity said, shocked. Manicure, scented candles and soft music, full treatment. I am paying for it of course, so don't worry about budget. The princess said, smirking almost evilly. Gulp. Why? The mayor asked, nervous as she fixed the alicorn with a wide-eyed disbelieving stare. Does a gift necessarily need to have a reason? Isn't my wish to be generous enough? Luna asked, looking hurt. No. I didn't mean to offend. I'll accept the offer, your highness. Rarity said immediately. Duty. I'll immediately go right to Luce then. It's tomorrow morning good enough for you? Luna asked, ecstatic. Luce as in Luce D'Angelo, Rarity shrieked with wide eyes. Who else? You think I would let the first pony passing by treat my mane? Don't worry, as I said, I'll pay for it. Tell you what, I'll even ask him to use his best products and take care of you personally. I assure you it will be mind-opening if you can pass me the term. Luna said, walking away. Okay. The other squeaked. Oh. And I'll take that blue evening dress you have in there with the white feathers on the neck area. Here are the money and my measures. Please see to adjust the dress following these perfectly. I'll send a guard to take it for me in 3 days. Have a nice day, Rarity Belle. You'll tell me how it went with Luce once you are back. Luna said, leaving the shop after scribbling her measures on a piece of paper along, leaving a small stack of money near it. Okay, Rarity repeated weakly without seeing the feral grin on the alicorn's face. 3, 2, 1. Thud. Too easy. The alicorn muttered to herself at hearing the unicorn faint as soon as she closed the door behind herself. The next day, Canterlot, Luce and Puma's paradise shop. Hey. The unicorn mare giggled in a near disturbing way as the receptionist, Puma, accompanied her to the VIP area in the back of the main styling shop. This was it. She will finally feel pampered like a princess. Isn't that Vinyl Scratch, Rarity whispered as she stumbled to a stop once seen the familiar face. She usually drops her new albums here before they even hit the stores. Whenever she comes to renew her cut, we use them as a background and in exchange she gets good publicity. Puma answered, nodding. This way, Kara. I am tired to see a gem such as you keep going around unpolished. I absolutely have to get my hooves on you. Lou said as he surfaced by the small room in the back. Oh hoo. The mare shuddered in delight as the soft music of the private room reached her ears. A small part of her mind was in the meantime wondering if the divine cone of light shining on the seat along the angel's choir echoing in her ear was all her imagination or not, but that inquiry was easily squashed under the bigger part of her brain being giddy at the knowledge of her being there for free. Take good care of her, Fratello. Puma said with a conspiratorial smirk. Brother. Oh. I will. The other answered, chuckling darkly. Inside the VIP room. Now, let me work my magic and relax. Lou said before taking a deep breath and unlocking the sealed cabinet to take out a vial of thick gold-colored liquid as dense as honey. Undiluted. I hope it won't fry her brain. I never tried it like this, the stallion thought, worried as he rapidly added water to turn the shampoo in a delicate yellow foam. Now let's gossip a little. He said as he slowly crept behind Rarity. Gossip? The mare said, perking up instantly. Yes. Like. Who between your friends the element bearers will be the first to try and mate with Luna's son? Luce asked as manacles closed around Rarity's hooves. It's a trap. A voice screamed in horror inside the mare's mind. I don't know what you are talking about. She answered, disinterested. Liar. The other said, smirking as he finally started using the foam on her mane, making Rarity tense. No. It's too relaxing. She mentally screamed as her eyes went half-lidded and her muscles felt like jelly. Come on, Kara. I just need a list of names in order of who will go first. Nobody will know you talked, Luce whispered as the foam itself moved through the unicorn's magic guidance into giving her head a slow massage. And no. Rarity said weakly as she tried to no avail to shake her head in the negative. You seem a tad too stressed, some scented candles will help maybe. The main stylist said, smirking as dozen of vanilla-scented candles lighted up as one in tandem with the lights above dimming out. No. Not the scented candles. The mare could only think that as her throat was letting out only traitorous moans of delight. I even have some chocolate bones made by the owner of La Chocolatier herself. She always used that very same chair you are sitting on, you know. They have cherries and a drop of high-class liquor in them too. Lou said as first-class chocolate gently levitated under the fashionista's nose. And no. Why, you will never break me. She answered in tears, barely stopping her tongue from sneaking out to take one. Not even with a massage to your hooves. I have some scented oils already ready. The other answered, smiling evilly. Ah. Rarity gasped with a bit of droll already escaping her mouth. Or some French manicure. I got some new amethyst clips I know would look divine applied on your hooves. They seems to have been made just for your fur and mane color. You monster. The mare managed to say out loud as she felt the shampoo and massage to her head erode her defenses to the breaking point. I could tell you so much. So many juicy tidbits of gossip. I just ask for names in exchange. I will never talk. My friends trusted me with this knowledge. Our friendship is more important. I will never talk. Never. Rarity thought, closing her eyes shut tight while biting her tongue. Like who is the mysterious new lover of the Pegasus actor Sweetfly that every single tabloid of Equestria is desperate to know about, for example? Luce whispered in her ear, making the mare's eyes snap open just like her jaw. Applejack will be first, then Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, and for last Twilight, because she wants to be sure there will be enough moonlight to illuminate the patch of trees she has chosen. The fashionista said rapidly before growing pale as soon she realized her confessing. Oh, sugar honey iced tea. She thought in horror. Wonderful. Then I will tell you. It's that blueberry fellow, the pop singer. No way. Rarity said with wide eyes. Yep. She slipped and told me herself last week. Tell me more, please. Oh, okay. Just because you helped me. Apparently those two have met during a party, and Lou said with a friendly smile as he started telling what he knew about that particular VIP couple. Rarity was sure her friends will understand, this was the biggest piece of gossip ever. And also, Luna calmed down a lot after her second corruption moment. She was sure the Alicorn princess won't overreact at all at knowing that. The next day, Royal Castle dungeons. Traitor. Twilight shrieked in rage as she and the others were dangling upside down from the ceiling of the damp prison cell, thanks to the heavy chains covering their bodies in a giant cocoon. Now. We are not here to talk about who betrayed who, Luna answered calmly while she was sitting on a comfortable chair and levitating a small fork to eat a slice of pie in front of herself while watching the red-faced, both from rush of blood and anger, mares that had planned their mating with her baby. I am sorry, I couldn't resist long under Luce's care and a bit more to the left, Spike. Rarity answered sadly before momentarily dropping it to tell Spike how to move the mirror she was using to check her new fabulous mane style. Like this? Perfect. As I was saying, they managed to make me spill everything. But I had no choice, they knew how to make me talk. The unicorn continued saying while still cooing and gushing at the, admittedly, wonderful job Luce had done. Your mane do look pretty, Fluttershy admitted before scowling. But selling us out just for that, it was a mean thing to do. She then said, huffing. Now, I am sure you are surprised at the fact we even have dungeons to begin with, Luna started saying before noting Twilight's smug look. I knew they existed instead. They were added as a form of joke by the architect that drew the blueprints at the beginning of UN Princess Celestia's reign, because he thought that a castle should always have dungeons. The young mare said. Now is not the moment. AJ hissed, making the other shut up with a sheepish expression. This is not important. I will be holding you all here for some time as a punishment for your daring going behind my back and trying to ensnare my son in mindless mating without respecting traditions. Luna bellowed. But I did respect tradition. Again it was Twilight to interrupt. Eh? Dash asked confused. Go on, the Moon Alicorn ordered with narrowed eyes. Spike. Go take the pink folder in my room in the library, third filing cabinet on the right, under the letter M for mating. She answered, blushing a little. I'm going. The small dragon answered immediately. I'll accompany you, just in case. Luna answered, teleporting herself and Spike away and leaving the element bearers alone. So Rarity tried saying. Shut up. Traitor. The other girls yelled as one. Sorry. 5 minutes of awkward silence later, Luna and Spike returned with a thick folder held in the air by the Alicorn's magic as she was going through every page. All respecting traditions. I state my wish to consummate with the prince, the preferred date and time for it to happen, and the possible other choices, so to meet with the royal family's schedule. Then there is my bio, my academic results with a letter of my former headmaster, and a list of my specializations, a short rendition of my family story, genealogical tree. Political point of view and known medical history. I also added favorite cough. Games I wish to propose Maelstrom to go through along possible fetishes me and him could be open to experiment on each other and the various places in Ponyville those could take place in and the instruments we would use. By the way, there is a typo in the last paragraph, the correct term is BDSM. Sorry about that, I mistyped and didn't notice when proofreading as I am new to this. Everything paper is in triple of course. Twilight explained, gaining a disbelieving stare from the other mares. What? Knowing how Princess Luna reacts, I wanted to make sure I had the less amount possible of problems, and with the Kage Bunshin spell, it didn't actually cut into my job or research time," she answered to their unspoken question. They all fell silent at hearing Luna take a deep breath while closing the folder to give it back to Spike. Poor dragon, looking scarred at learning his pseudo-mother Twilight did wish to have a very healthy and very active sexual life. "Very well. I guess this leaves me no choice but to let Miss Sparkle go," the princess said, sighing. "What?" Dash yelled in anger. "She has moved through the right path to get permission," and what Luna was saying stopped when the door to the dungeon blew up to pieces to let a scowling Celestia enter, followed by Maelstrom and Trixie. "Sister dear," the Sun Alicorn asked with an overly sweet tone that made everyone shiver in dread. "What's the meaning of this? Selly? How did you?" Luna gasped in shock before her eyes fell on Trixie. "That too, my student." The defeated and apologetic Trixie begs you forgiveness, Teacher Luna. But Maelstrom managed to extract the truth from me. The unicorn answered, looking down ashamed. "We were having our date when I saw one of your shadow bats deliver a message to her. Once destroyed, she immediately tried to talk me into going to Manhattan and stay there together until tonight," the prince said with narrowed eyes. "At the same time, I discovered to have an improvised meeting in Manhattan as well for a nondescript offer that apparently would have kept me away until tomorrow. You forgot that you never were good at forging my signature when we were fillies, and you still are not able to do it. So once the thing went cancelled, I tried to see why you did that and discovered the disappearance of Twilight and the others," Celestia added with a disapproving tone. "And Trixie helped you? She betrayed me? Her teacher?" Luna asked hurt. "You used ninja tricks to make the great and stoic Trixie talk, princess," the former showmare answered, blushing. "Ninja tricks?" Pinky asked, confused. Unseen by Luna, the blonde Alicorn winked at the girls and used a trick the elements knew very well to elongate his tongue to twice the size to wave at them, making all of them shiver at the memory of how that felt. Through several dates he had discovered that Twilight and Fluttershy were screamers, still nothing compared to Dash. At age A and Pinky instead were squirmers. And Trixie, she was both apparently. And a very explosive one at that. "What?" Luna asked, confused, making her son rapidly turn his tongue back to normal and smile innocently when she turned to look at him. "Nothing, sister. Now release them and let's just forget this happened," a red-faced Celestia said with her best dismissive tone. "Here goes another sleepless night, thanks to my nephew, darn it," the Sun Princess thought, grimacing. "Mother, please. Let us." "No. I will never let them have their way with you. Never. Except Trixie, she has my blessing. So please, feel free to go out together, you two, I don't mind, just do not jump immediately to mating." Luna roared in answer before disappearing in a burst of magic. Sigh. "Please forgive her, I spoiled her too much when we were young, so she still acts like a filly sometimes when she is stressed," Celestia said, sighing while she and both Trixie and Maelstrom worked to free the trapped mares. Later that night, Luna's bedroom. "Mating with my baby, as if. I accepted the herd, yes, but mating. That's 300 years too soon," the Moon Alicorn said while devouring in blind fury the sweets from her secret reserves. "Barely a couple of months together and they already plan ahead for that. Back in the days we took things way slower," she added, pulling a lever to have an entire wall spin of 180 to show collection papers stuck on it. "Luckily I have a timetable to work with and my genius mind, my perfect plan is foolproof." Said plan had been enriched by doodles of herself, with me written above her horn, Twilight and company, meanie, barely acceptable, pervert shy and so on, and her son, my baby doodle of an heart, followed by diagrams, half-erased notes and pictures. "Yes, this should work," Luna muttered as she neared the wall to correct few things. Not too far away, Celestia was hiding in a corner of the room and shaking her head in sadness at the situation, stealing her resolve at helping the Moon Princess understand once and for all that what she was doing was definitely wrong. "I know she hates the idea of him growing up, ever parents have that fear, but I thought those foals of truth would have helped. Well, I guess shock therapy is in order then," the Sun Alicorn thought before quietly leaving the room to teleport to Ponyville to check if her luck had what she needed already in position. Barely few minutes later and Luna shrieked in surprise as enchanted ropes and chain tied her up together with a thick piece of cloth covering her mouth. "So we have an accord," the Moon Princess heard her sister say out loud. "Yep. I help you stopping her from escaping and in exchange I can take notes to help Miss Eno." Discord answered as his own magic covered the chains trapping Luna in a way to make her escape impossible. "Sorry, my dear sister. But this is necessary to help you understand, your son is no longer a baby, he is an adult free to make his choices, and you leave me no choice if not giving you a first row seat on his adult life. Come with us," Celestia said, teleporting the three away. "First row? No, she is not going to do what I think," Luna thought in pure disgusted horror. Ponyville Dash and Gilda's apartment Dash bedroom warning. Adult content. Here we are, your turn, Discord. I can't do this. The Sun Alicorn said as soon as the trio reappeared in an hidden corner of the street under the window of the Rainbow Main girl's bedroom. Okay. Invisibility for us and transparent walls of the room, just for our eyes of course, the Draconiqua said, cracking his fingers and launching a small bullet of light at the wall. I'll make sure we will hear what is happening. Sorry again, Luna. But you need to snap out of it. Celestia said, sighing as her own horn flared in energy. I'll never forgive you too. What are you planning to do? The bound Luna thought with narrowed eyes. Her answer came when two blurs almost tore down the bedroom door, making both Dash and Maelstrom crash land on the mattress, giggling and laughing. No. I am not going to see my baby doing it, right? Right, hearing it happen once was bad enough, but watching. No. The princess though, as Dash pounced on him, pushing his back into the soft mattress to kiss him as hard as she could, her hooves pressing down hard on either side of his head as she raped, from Luna's point of view, his mouth with her lips and tongue. Both moaning in bliss, the blonde alicorn rolled aside to pin her beneath him and looking transfixed at her mane, forming a colorful halo around her head. We should put on some privacy seals, Maelstrom whispered while lightly biting her neck. No, I'll let on. Let Gilda hear, Dash answered, shaking her head with little moans breaking her answer. I love when you act all dirty. He answered, smirking, leaning to kiss her again while rubbing his body on hers. Then make me dirtier. The mare answered, bucking her hips upward beneath him, as if to remind him what was missing between them. Oh. Sorry, my bad. He answered, winking before showing that indeed he was stiffly in the mood to take her. With Discord. Well, they seems to have the dirty talk down to a T. How are you two holding up? The chaos entity asked while taking notes on a pad. Thus peachy Celestia muttered uneasy, she was blushing madly and covering her eyes with an hoof, although randomly taking a small peek before returning to cover her eyes. And Lulu? She seems fine. A clone of Discord, wearing lab coat and glasses, answered, pouring some eye drops in the Moon Alicorn's eyes as he was using specula to hold her eyes open and not look away. Let her hear some relaxing music, she seems to be hyperventilating. The original Discord said. Okay. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony should do the trick, I took it from Inhuman World. The clone said, putting earphones on Luna and continuing to keep her eyes hydrated. Specula, traumatic images in Beethoven's music, where did I saw this before? Bah. Whatever. Back with Maelstrom and Dash. While that was happening, the rainbow-maned mare had once again flipped the situation, so to once again being her the one straddling the other, while rubbing her behind up and down her lover's shaft. Are we impatient perhaps, my rainbow princess? The blonde alicorn asked with a teasing smile as he kissed her again and jokingly poked her drenched waiting entrance with his thing. Lemon happened. Without saying a word, both exhausted lovers fell on the ruined bed as soon as he dropped the chakra cloak to try and recover their breath. That was awesome, Dashy. He said, kissing her. Oh. She's out of it, I'll keep her company then. The prince muttered, moving the sheets to cover both him and the unconscious girl that still cuddled against him as soon as he hugged her, both falling rapidly asleep immediately after. Outside with Discord. Darn. I have to say that he is not one to hold back, that's for sure. You okay, Selly? The Draconiqua said with a low whisper of awe while pocketing his notepad. Yoo-hoo, Celestia answered distractingly as she waited for her Defcon 11 level blush to finally subside and stop trying to fry her face. And Luna? Discord asked, finally freeing the trapped Moon Alicorn that instead stood still unbreathing. Did we break her? Celestia asked, worried. No, sister, I am fine. Luna answered, sighing and sitting down on the floor with a defeated expression on her face. I am sorry you had to see this. The Sun Princess said sadly, hugging her sister tight to cheer her up. It had to be done, I needed to see this. Then open your eye on him and the element bearers. Discord said, nodding sagely. Yes. Now I know that he needs a girl worthy of him, just look at Dash. Only once and she passes out. Romance is good and all, so is being able to hold smart conversations and good manners, but my baby needs a woman able to satisfy him too. Luna answered. That's rig what, Celestia said, shocked. Now I see why he hasn't heard, a single one of them is not enough for him. You saw her. She can't keep up. My son has to accept subpar women because his training gave him greater stamina. And now he will be forced to remain hot and bothered because his partner can't mate with him more than once. Inexcusable. The Moon Alicorn said, indignant. Wait. We meant to. You two opened my eyes to the real problem and I thank you for it. But now I need to go. Tomorrow I'll start looking for a proper woman able to satisfy him in bed as well. Failed that, I'll make sure Trixie herself will be up to the task. The girl shows great respect and a sharp mind. It would be only a matter of helping her develop the right endurance. At least I know I can trust her. And Twilight and the other element bearers. Oh, fine. If they can get more stamina they too can stay, at least I won't be forced to scout all Equestria for some dirty mare I don't know a thing about, you know what they say. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. The Moon Alicorn said before teleporting away. So this means this plan failed? Discord asked dumbfounded. Yes, it did. Just help me track her down. If we can't stop her from interfering directly, we can try to use her fixation to finally make her understand. How? By explaining to her the safety in numbers rule. If we can convince her that quantity can substitute quality, maybe she will finally stop this crusade of hers. Come with me. Celestia answered as she too teleported away. Easier to say than do. She gets deaf when it comes to her baby boy. And even I don't know how to phrase the idea of an herd being a good substitute to a single mare, able to keep up with him, without making it sound like a veiled insult to him and to the elements. I miss being trapped in rock. It was easier. The Draconequus muttered depressed before following both Alicorn princesses. Meanwhile inside the apartment. So we were being spied. Maelstrom said sighing. Yeah, I saw your mother, Celestia and Discord stand under Dash window looking up toward you, Gilda answered sighing. Nothing else. Your mother is probably planning something for Dash and the others, she didn't seem happy at her passing out. The Griffin answered shrugging. We went a little overboard. A little? Modest aren't you? Gilda replied snorting. We know what we like, you can ask her as soon as she wakes up if I overdid. The prince answered. No, thank you. I already have a non-existent love life, I don't need more details about you two and your escapades. Let's just hope Aunt Celestia will finally manage to curb my mother's obsession, it's starting to stop being worrying and turning ridiculous, Maelstrom answered sighing. I hope so, for you and the others, cause she can get scary when she wants to. Gilda answered shaking her head and leaving. Life was easier in Konoha, life was so much easier, the prince muttered sighing as he rejoined Dash for a good night of sleep. It was a quiet morning in Celestia, for once managing to do the impossible and get 5 minutes of free time to spend doing what she wanted, was calmly walking towards the small room her beloved sister had committed as classroom for her lessons to both Trixie and her nephew. I cannot see why I can't help in teaching them. Twilight is a wonderful example of the fact that I know how to be a teacher-tutor, workaholic tendencies notwithstanding. Nor can be said that I never tried curbing them, she is just very stubborn. She admitted to herself as if feeling the need to justify her innocence when talking about Twilight's attitude toward studying or books in general. I get it that Luna is using the lessons as a practical excuse to reconnect with her beloved son, but such a pressing, for we others, possessiveness is annoying there, I said it. Celestia added, blushing a little. Ooh. A long moan of pleasure echoed in the corridor, making the Alicorn stumble a little. Oh, please tell me Luna is not making Meili and Trixie mate in front of her, so to give suggestions or correct Trixie's mistakes. Celestia muttered in horror as she neared the closed door. Ooh, oh, Meili. Harder. Harder. The voice said between loud howl of ecstasy. That is Miss Applejack, she is using her as a model for proper mating. The Sun Princess said, shocked as she carefully opened the door enough to peek inside. She had not the strength for barging inside and really interrupt her nephew mid-coitus, okay. As you can see, Luna was saying calmly as the giant projection of her son mercilessly plowing AJ from behind, stopped momentarily, so that the laser pointer she was holding up magically could circle around the point of connection between the stallion and the mare. Doing so to underline the obscene bulging of the element of honesty's stomach, enlarging and shrinking in slow motion whenever the wind Alicorn was thrusting forward or backwards. The matter is not only managing to take him, but doing so without losing consciousness, as Miss AJ's expression. Image zooming on the mare's face showing blank eyes and drooling mouth. Clearly states the obvious intense feeling of pleasure he can provide. I am not saying this just because, frankly, mating an unresponsive mare lowers the pleasure both physical and mental, as it has been demonstrated that listening the partner vocal appreciations spurs the other to do better and makes them feel better with themselves. It also means that the mare, in our case you, can actually enjoy it instead of fainting after the 5th climax and so missing the following 6. Luna explained calmly, between her tone and her dressing like a schoolteacher, it didn't even seem like she was talking about sex. The E11, Celestia mentally gasped in awe. The E11? Trixie asked weakly, and since she had a first-row seat directly under the meters-long for meters-wide giant video of a stallion sexually demolishing a mare, the Sun Princess could not fault her anxiety. Yes. Yes. I guess it does sound a little intimidating hearing this for the first time. Luna answered distractedly. More than a little, that sounds lethal. Both mares thought at the same time. Truth be told, it is one of those little things the shinobi from the world Maelstrom was raised in had always lamented. By nature of their call in life as mercenaries, they are trained ever since they were mere colts and fillies to reach the peak of stamina and power, with the strongest of them having been documented as able to battle non-stop for 7 days and 7 nights against whole armies. And so it is not hard to imagine how this could reduce the list of possible mates down to other shinobi, as civilians couldn't obviously match them in endurance. This not considering my baby boy's special case and the beast that he had been forced to carry inside, of course. It will be already a difficult task helping you with his being an alicorn only, the added extra of his training might pose a further obstacle, but I am sure we will be able to do this. He is not selfish, so I am sure that should you manage to last for at least 6 to 7 times he won't mind. Luna answered. But still the very worried Trixie finds 11 times to be disconcerting. Trixie admitted, both she and her teacher missing Celestia's nod. It is? Luna asked dumbfounded. Yes, teacher. Oh. I have been missing for 1,000 years, so I guess the standards must have lowered considerably. My beloved Storm had a standard of 7 times whenever we were intimate with a peak of 9 when he was really in the mood, and from what I could gather 11 is the shinobi equivalent of A. What is the modern term for a very quick intercourse done when both parties have to hurry up? A quickie? Trixie offered shocked. Yes, that. Miss Sakura has been very helpful in my data gathering when I asked for medical details about Maelstrom. Luna said nodding. It had been a very mortifying talk for Sakura Haruno, that one, especially since it was the mother of one of her dearest friends asking those questions in detail and with added charts she had brought with herself, and of course Sasuke too didn't appreciate the alicorn's questions about the probable number of times a Jinchuriki could possibly reach when mating. And as a result now both still couldn't look at their blonde friend in the eyes whenever he paid them a visit without blushing. This is why I am doing this. I find unfair that nor you or my baby can fully appreciate your moments of intimacy by leaving the bedroom unsatisfied. We will work on a surefire strategy to resolve this issue. Luna finished saying with a defeated sigh. With all due respect, teacher, but Trixie believes that AJ seems awfully satisfied, the former showmare said unsure. Really? The Moon Alicorn said unsure as the recording returned to run at normal speed. Come on, AJ. Scream for me. The recording of Maelstrom said as he gave a strong bite to AJ's mane to pull her head back. Ah. 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 Coming. Oh goodness. AJ bellowed as the squishy sounds of his wet privates entering her womanhood filled the room. Celestia could not fathom how the farm mare was actually taking him without being split in half. It wasn't a matter of personal dimensions either, but Celestia herself by sizes alone could be said to be towering over Twilight and her friends, while her nephew was slightly taller and broader than even her. So even if more than half of his thing kept remaining outside when going as deep as possible, the girth alone should have been an issue, unless unholy amounts of filly oil and perseverance had been used. But considered the sizes of that particular specimen, she felt very few mares would have objected trying being ruined by it. How? What? Luna asked while still studying AJ's performance as now the mare was being hoisted in the air, with her back legs wide open with their hooves at the sides of her head, as the now sage Cloquet Alicorn kept ramming it upwards, making her body shake like a rag doll, and her head rest on his shoulder to let out helpless guttural moans. That is the video speeding up. Why is she not dead? Trixie asked with unblinking eye. No, it's at normal speed and from what I could gather, Rainbow Dash explained the need of using lubricant to her friends, but let's move to the next point and please stop panting. Trixie is not panting, the young mare answered confused. Oh. And yet I could swear whatever. Next point, oral ministrations. Luna said shrugging and speeding up the video until the two lovers switched again position to return to him taking AJ from behind. Calm down, it has been 1,000 years since last time you had a stud. No. Stop. Celestia thought while covering her mouth with both hooves. As you can see now, human mating also adds oral ministrations to the equation for both partners. I can also tell you that he possesses a specific spell, or jutsu, if we have to be technical, helping him with this, the Moon Alicorn explained as the video of AJ stopped momentarily to make room to one where Dash had her face buried between the prince's legs and vice versa. The maximum length his tongue can reach is between 10 to 11 inches, with girth also growing in scale, she explained as the thick appendage was showed elongating to penetrate hungrily, either snatch or plucked butthole at random intervals. The pingus is the term for the flank licking while conlingus is for the marehood. Please remember the difference if you feel the need to ask him in detail. But what we will focus on today will be the female version of this, she added as the camera moved to show Dash give long, worshipful licks from top to bottom to the rock-hard rod and alternating each lick with either kisses to the tip or rounds of deep throat. Luckily only Miss Dash and Miss Twilight can at the moment properly take him all the way down without gagging, but since Miss Pie is making leaps and bounds in her progresses to do that herself, it means that we also have a tight schedule. Luckily I have found a cucumber roughly matching melee sizes, so you'll be able to practice in private, as I can guess doing that in front of your target's mother would seem awkward, even if I am your teacher. Luna said, taking from her desk said vegetable to move it on Trixie's desk. This true scale beat Prince? The overwhelmed mare asked without moving her eyes from Dash, and the way her throat bulged at each mouthful she greedily gulped down. I will ignore your lack of proper grammar or manners this time in virtue of teen hormones, but yes, this is in scale 1-1 if you really need to know. Oh, goodness. I have asked the chef for cucumber salad for lunch. You can't do this to me, Luna. Celestia mentally whined. Now, the last thing we will be pies today to close our lesson, dirty talking. Dirty talking? Trixie asked in a daze, whining in displeasure as the video returned to AJ, before she could see why there were 3 clones of Maelstrom, together with the original surrounding Dash, while pointing their thing directly at her face and her drooling open mouth. Sorry the cliffhanger, but this is more important. Dirty talking is the role-playing where debasing insults are exchanged between lovers mostly at the peak of the pleasure few instants before the climax. My son discovered a side of him liking it, so whenever possible he likes to use it. Don't feel insulted if he does it with you, he doesn't really think what he says in those moments. The Moon Alicorn explained. Think what? Lemon happened. That was time number 4, curiously the quantity of release doesn't change much until he reaches 6. He is not heartless, so he understood she reached her limit this time and stopped, and so once helped her cleaning up, he took her home to rest. I have to admit it, their sleeping together cuddling was almost cute to watch. This concludes today's lesson, any questions? Luna asked, making the video she took in secret disappear completely. You were the one openly asking me if you could date Melee and even suggest the possibility of intimacy. I just found necessary take the matter in my hooves to help you. Why yes teacher, the humble Trixie is very grateful for your help, the mare answered once recovered enough control over herself. Yoo-hoo. I can tell this was honestly overwhelming as I am not blind, but I am really trying to help you, even if my methods are unorthodox. So I won't get angry for your small climax at seeing all this. But Trixie didn't had one from watching even if she went darn close at doing that, teacher Luna. Trixie admitted ashamed. As I said, there is no problem with this. But if you didn't then what is this smell? Luna asked curious while moving towards the door to slam it open. Who's there? The alicorn barked, walking out only to feel her hoof step on something wet and sticky. Looking down, she found a very small puddle of clear liquid under her, and once took a sniff she returned to look around with narrowed eyes. We had a peeping Tom, a pervert. She muttered with a furious growl. You have your homework but feel free to do side researches, tomorrow you'll show me the results. You are dismissed, I have a personal investigation to do. Luna said as she marched outside to find the mysterious pony that dared spy on her lessons. Meanwhile with Celestia bedroom. The panting son Alicorn had just ran inside a room, slamming the door closed, leaning against it for support, and finally slumping down, panting heavily with her face dark red and her body trembling slightly. Aha. 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 She was still trying to regain her breath before looking down to see a new puddle there rapidly growing in size as she kept sitting on the floor. Take it, slut. A voice rang in her head. No, she chanted as she hurried towards her bathroom. Suck my beep. Beg me. Fill up. Fill up. Fill up. She begged as she waited for her bathtub to get filled by ice cold water. You know you want to. Beg me. Beg for my beep. Water. Celestia moaned as she dived head first and resurfacing few seconds later with a gasp. Ah. That's better. At the lack of voices she relaxed and leaned her head back on the tub side, enjoying the refreshing cold, calming her down. I am just saying that we both know you are missing a good fucking. It has been 1000 years, there is no shame in needing some few hours of drunk monkey sex. You know he would love to ram that monster beep up your legendary plump ass and break it. Do not deny it. The same voice said conversationally. Sproosh. It took maybe an instant, but her blush simply got so fierce that the whole content of the bathtub evaporated in a second, leaving her sitting inside the empty thing and surrounded by hot steam. That is not helping. The son Alicorn hissed while glaring at her crotch. And somehow she could swear she heard her marehood whine in answer to that. Later that evening, Ponyville Library. At the moment Twilight was calmly enjoying one of her short pauses to reread one of the many tomes she had the option to put her hooves on, while reclining on a puff she had moved in a secluded corner. Spike was outside, and the other elements were all going through her own businesses, so without troubles and or bad guys planning mischief. She had the whole selection of printed paper all for herself. And she loved it. Pure bliss, she muttered, pleased as she inhaled the scent of the book she was reading with a beatific expression, soon followed by a sigh of pure pleasure. Knock. Knock. Darn it. The young mare cursed lowly as she forced herself up to open the door. Knock. Knock. Ah. You are here, perfect. Trixie said, elated as soon as the door opened, and without waiting for an invitation she entered to take a seat on the same puff Twilight had just vacated. Please do enter and make yourself comfortable, the purple unicorn said in sarcasm while closing the door. Do not worry, Trixie will make it quick so to not disturb. The showmare answered, nonplussed while looking around. Yes. I need to borrow a copy of your notes for her lessons, Teacher Luna suggested, asking you. She even teleported Trixie here herself. What kind of notes? Ah. The princess gave me a list, hem. She answered, unfolding a piece of paper to read it aloud with a straight, albeit blushing, face. I need. Beat mating. Hows and hows not, the 2 volumes of pros and cons of Hooves jobs, a copy of 5 useful tricks for taking a big one in every hole, and if possible gagging reflex and cudgel exercises. How to master them in 10 steps. And I am supposed to have notes about that, why? The mare shrieked with a horrified expression. Trixie merely looked at her with a raised eyebrow. Let me guess. You are Twilight Sparkle, you have notes about everything. Am I right? Twilight asked, groaning while massaging her temples. Yep. So? Will you help Trixie? The mare asked, smirking. Follow me. The element of magic answered in defeat as both walked towards a small, hidden room. Nobody must know about this. Twilight said, sighing as she flipped a hidden switch, making the walls spin of 180 to show shelves after shelves of nameless books. Near her, Trixie let out a stricken whistle of awe at the sheer number of books. How do you know I have those notes? She asked, shaking her head while collecting the requested books. Teacher Luna saw you take notes just like she was doing for my lessons at the opposite side of the clearing, where Maelstrom and Dash were having fun. You never noticed her, well, you both kept recording every sordid detail of the prince's escapades. Trixie admitted. I see. Is this all stuff you did with him? No, I am still virgin, completely. Twilight admitted with a red face. Then why are you? I am not a shy cutie like Fluttershy, a free spirit like Pinky, nor I have the bravery of age A or Dash to walk up to him and get down to business. What I can do though is research and learning, so when the time comes I won't appear lacking, but I will already have an idea of what I am doing. Twilight answered while looking at the room in apprehension. Shy cutie? Trixie asked, snorting. You know, the innocent girl every boy would love to make dirtier and… Innocent? Fluttershy. PFT, ha 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 ha. What's so funny? The purple unicorn asked, offended. Nothing. It's just that there is more to your friend than what you imagine. TCH. Still, all those books, wouldn't some pony say you are debasing yourself? You even have a manual on becoming a sperm dump? Trixie asked with crimson cheeks while showing her said book. That is a book I got from a human of Konoha, so do not ruin it as it is alone. I still have to finish to translate and copying it. And as for your doubts, Mare's objectification is a plague, yes, and I guess some pony would say that I am doing just that to myself, but I know it will be my own choice to do all this or not, as I won't be forced, and I know my cold friend won't force me. As long as me and him act properly when in public, what me and Meili will do in the privacy of our bedroom will only be our business and nobody else. It's my life we are talking about, nobody has any right to dictate me on how to live it. She answered, shrugging while putting the book back to its place. If you are okay with this, so… These notes. Here, wait. What? Trixie asked, confused at the outburst. You aren't going to use this knowledge on my cold friend, right? Twilight asked with a growling tone and narrowed eyes. Yes. I see. I am sorry but I can't share my notes, the other answered while pushing the other towards the door. Wait. You can't do this to Trixie. The showmare said, trying to resist the shoving. Yes I can, as the original author and owner of the notes I have every right, now please kindly remove yourself. Twilight answered, nonplussed. I was told to take those from Princess Luna, the other said as she planted her 4 hooves on the doorframe to not be kicked out. And I will keep denying possessing them, at worst I'll ask Princess Celestia for help, she won't be happy to hear about those lessons centered around her nephew. You wouldn't dare. Love and war share similar ideals, and sharing my trump card is a very bad strategy. But Trixie needs those. Then take notes yourself, like when back in school. Stop copying and start doing your own homework. Twilight answered, closing the door on the mare's face. Sniffle. It won't work. The purple mare said from behind the door. Sniffle. Sob. Told you already it's not working, Twilight answered with a strained tone. Sniffle. Sob. Sniffle. Wah. Okay. Fine. I will help you. The unicorn roared, opening the door to find a perfectly fine Trixie already cleaning away her fake tears. Trixie thanks you. The showmare said happily as she trotted back inside. Darn it. Come with me, let's see what you need. The other muttered grumbling. Meanwhile with Fluttershy Shy Mare's home. Please, no. Don't do it. The element of kindness was pleading with wide scared eyes while cowering at Discord's feet. I am tired of this. You either tell him yourself or I'll do it. The Draconicus answered angrily, the dark bags under his eyes accentuating even more his wrathful expression. No. I can't. You can't. The mare blabbered hysterical. Every night. Every darn night. I can't sleep at all with all the noise you make. If you have to play your fetishes then use a ball gag too. Humans at least are considerate enough to come up with something to lower the noise level. Discord answered snarling. I. Every night master. Here. Use me. There. Have you any idea how hard it is to sleep if from the near room all that ruckus comes out to fill the house? You are free to enjoy every kinky game that gives you the jollies, but at least I ask for you to keep quiet. I'll do it. I'll be quiet. Just don't tell Maelstrom yet. I am not mentally ready. Fluttershy pleaded. Mentally ready for what? The prince asked as he peeked in from the open window. Oh, nothing much. Discord answered normally. Please. Please no. No. Shy muttered while shaking her head wildly. Shy. You okay? The wind alicorn asked worried as he hurried inside. It's all okay. Everything is perfectly normal. The mare answered immediately. You are shaking, Maelstrom said while hugging her to try calm her down. It's nothing. It's nothing. She repeated with a trembling voice. Hoi. The alicorn said unnerved while the girl buried her face on his wing to keep repeating those words again and again. Sigh. That's pathetic. She has a deep BDSM fetish and she lacks the spine to admit it. You should be the master of course, Discord said annoyed as he lied down on the couch. At that the Pegasus simply went undone and collapsed limp in the alicorn embrace in a dead faint. Fluttershy. Maelstrom yelled in shock. 1 hour later bedroom. Fluttershy felt like hell, she had the worst nightmare and just wanted to spend the whole day under her covers. She refused to face her friends until the memories of that horrid dream. You're awake. Thank God. Maelstrom said sighing elated from his sitting next to her bed. It was not a dream, Fluttershy muttered in abject horror before burying her head under her pillow and silently praying to die that very instant. How's she? Discord asked peeking inside to check on her. How could you? The mare answered with a broken voice filled in betrayal, so much that even the Draconicus recoiled slightly. I'll be in the kitchen if you need me. The mismatched creature said shrugging and leaving the two alone. Jerk. Come on, Shy, come out. The prince pleaded while gently nudging the bundle of covers hiding the shy Pegasus. Please don't hate me, she said weakly. Play long, Kurama suggested. Eh? The wind alicorn asked confused. She has BDSM fetishes. Then play along, let her see that it doesn't change a thing between you two, she needs to understand that you don't find her strange. The Biju explained. Well, it is a little strange. Your hormones tell a different story, just come out of the closet and admit it. The toad pervert managed to corrupt you in those 3 years. Kurama answered smirking. It didn't happen. I am not like Hiro Sennin. The other answered vehemently shaking his head. Liar. Yuuk. Come on. Say it. I want to hear it. Kurama sang in great amusement. I see can't. Come on. No one is here, no one will know. I have a hair fetish, the longer the better, and I like giving and receiving oral sex, and tall girls and short girls, and watching them squirm and coming on their face, and he said gaining more speed at every and. Okay, that's enough. And I love to lick their neck and when they beg me for more and using clones to gangbang them and. You can stop now, Kurama said turning a little unnerved. And I love when I manage to give them multiple screaming orgasms and I am having fantasies as of late where I bend Aunt Celestia over the dinner table to plow her ass hard until she screams. He admitted before burying his face in his hooves in shame. Wow, I didn't know about the last one. The Biju admitted with a low whistle. Up in heaven. You corrupted my baby. D. Kushina bellowed as she assaulted the dead toad Sannin. Well, technically he is not exactly your son. Jiraiya tried saying while backing away. That answer, human. Fearstorm answered as he and Minato moved to keep him still. All yours, honey. The former 4th Hokage said as he and the pony shoved the Sannin towards the woman. Ai. With a hellish roar Kushina pounced, making the agonizing screams of pain of Jiraiya echo everywhere. You are not really angry about this, right? Storm asked. Nope. And you? Minato answered while barely concealing his smirk. Me neither, I share the same fetishes in fact. Ditto. At that human and pony exchanged a stealth fist bump of male camaraderie. Back on Equestria. In the deep silence that was elongating between the two, Fluttershy finally gave in and started sniffling hard when the first tears made their appearance, also snapping the prince from his mental dialogue with Kurama. It was then that a small box moved out from under the bed by itself to poke him on the leg. "What the," he muttered before turning to look at the door to see Discord's tail disappear as he silently moved away. Opening the lid, the Wind Alicorn saw a small black collar with a dog tag, a short leash and a riding crop along a blindfold and handcuffs. "Why would a world of horses have riding crops?" Kurama asked, dumbfounded. "Made in Grass Village, she took it during our last visit in our world. She must have sneaked away when in Konoha with M and the others to visit one of the Leaf's adult stores," he answered. "I see, now move before she does something stupid, like running away as soon as she remain alone." Nodding at the Biju's words, the prince yanked the covers away, making Fluttershy shriek and try to move away, without saying a word, and with his gentlest smile, the Alicorn simply fastened the collar around her neck, making her go wide-eyed. "It's pretty, it does really suit you," he said, kissing her cheek. Plus %% pounds. Muttering something incomprehensible, the Pegasus turned beet red and looked down. "Speak louder," Maelstrom said sharply. It's not strange?" she asked again, still with her head held low. "I like you and you like this sort of thing, so I like them too now, is it okay?" he answered, nudging her face up with a hoof. "You sure?" she asked again, this time with a bit more strength returning to her voice. "You'll need to teach me how to properly do that, but I'll manage, and to be honest, seeing you wear a property of Prince Maelstrom dog tag is surprisingly hot. I guess I just learned something new about myself," he answered, chuckling. "Okay," she answered with a tiny smile finally surfacing. "What now?" he asked. "Hey, kiss." "No." "Why?" "I am the one doing demands, right?" the Alicorn answered, smirking. "Right," Shy said. "Right what?" "You are right, master," she answered, returning to be unhealthily flushed. "Sigh. We need help with this, come with me," Maelstrom said, moving towards the door. "You are right, where are we going?" Fluttershy admitted, sighing herself. "To meet an expert, and if it is not a problem," he answered before looking away. "Yes. Can you keep the collar? Just this time." Oh, okay. "Odd, this is super pathetic," Kurama muttered, face palming. Few minutes later, Carousel Boutique. "Rarity is the expert," Fluttershy yelled with wide eyes. "Yep. Discovered this by chance," Maelstrom answered, shaking his head as both entered the shop. "Expert in what, dear?" the unicorn asked, curious. "In BDSM, and we both need lessons in that," the prince answered. Luckily the boutique was empty, otherwise someone else would have seen the infamous perfectionist fashionista shred the dress she was working on in a flare of uncontrolled magic. I don't know what you are talking about, Mael," she stammered in panic and refusing to look at them. "Sigh. We won't talk, Rare. But Fluttershy wants me to be her master, and I can't do this if I have troubles even saying the term, same going with her shyness and being the submissive one for real instead of her fantasies," he answered in defeat. I still don't understand. I am a proper lady. I am not into that sort of sordid things," the unicorn answered, rapidly walking away. "Then I'll ask Twilight if she knows where Spike runs to every day," he said with narrowed eyes, making her stop abruptly. "Spiky?" Fluttershy asked, confused. "And no, please don't tell her. He is in your dungeon, right? Like the proper pet he is. What are you punishing him for this time?" Maelstrom asked. "Dungeon? Oh my goodness." Shy gasped in shock. "Sigh. You promised, Mealy," Rarity said, whining. "We are on the same boat, Rare. So help us, please. I don't want to exaggerate, and we need to see if we would really enjoy this or not. I don't want to go overboard or step back and lose Fluttershy," the Alicorn said pleadingly, and making the Pegasus near him smile happily at his admission. "Okay. I'll see what I can do to help you too, but just because we are friends and share common interests. But nobody will know about us, okay nobody," the fashionista answered. "Of course," the other two answered at the same time. "Good. Let's go to my office. And is that a collar?" "Yo, got her to wear one in public," Rarity said, going wide-eyed in shock. I thought it was normal," Shy answered timidly. "No way. I never got Spike to wear one openly like that." "How did you do that?" Rarity asked Maelstrom with clear jealousy ringing in her tone. "You tried. You know Twilight will skin you alive if that happens. She still is a little miffled for what happened with that main stylist," Maelstrom answered, snorting. "Those are minor details. Come on. You have to tell me the details, so I'll know from where to start. Spanking? Blindfolds? Bites? Anything yet?" she asked, curious. This is our first day in this, Rarity," Fluttershy answered while hiding behind the Alicorn. "Goodness, you two are hopeless in this. Good thing I am a patient mare, come with me." Meanwhile, right outside the window. "So the fashion maniac will teach them?" Surprising, but only good for blackmail. Luckily Trixie will have a first row seat on the lessons. Even if teacher Luna is not going to enjoy these notes, I will take Trixie, muttered grimacing as she tried to keep track of the trio to take her notes. Later that night, candlelit Royal Castle Maelstrom's bedroom. The prince was soundly asleep, still blushing from time to time, as his dreams had been influenced by the lessons Rarity gave him and Fluttershy, and the knowledge that more will come at a later time, and unknown to him. Kurama instead was greatly enjoying his movie night and even adding a detail or two here and there from his own repertoire of knowledge. Good thing the Biju could hide those dreams from Luna's eyes should she come checking, otherwise even he doubted half Equestria, the planet, would remain standing after her first bout of maternal fury. So engrossed both were that neither of them noticed the bedroom door silently opening and a long shadow loom above the alicorn, nor did they notice the covers slowly getting peeled away and the prince's tool coerced into coming out without waking him up. No guards heard the guttural noises of bliss coming from the bedroom, nor the heavy, satisfied gulps of hunger following few minutes later. And it was not the first time this happened either. Once again, the next morning, Maelstrom could not understand why his aunt's smile seemed to become a little amorous towards the end of her good morning. Nor why he had the improvised instinct of looking down in shyness or to follow every movement of her tail whenever she walked by him. Or his newfound attraction to her for that matter. "You okay, sister?" Luna asked, curious. "Oh, yes. I feel perfect, thank you. Even better than usual." The sun alicorn answered simply, and no one seemed to notice the strange gleam that had passed through her eyes as she said that. "I have a bad feeling, even worse than when that nightmare bitch had come back a second time," Kurama muttered with narrowed eyes as his danger instinct started stirring awake. The secret underground room was rather tastefully furnished if one had to be honest, a wide room made with big squared blocks of crudely cut rock that had been helped growing the right amount of mush to give it the ideal appearance of a damp, abandoned and isolated room of anguish. Slap. 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 MMMMMMH. Never one to renounce to comfort the fashion addict unicorn had still added a comfy chair and delicious tea set, always at ready on a tiny table nearby, so that from their mistress of the dungeon could always have a prime view on the punishment of the mongrel under her power. "Again," she said while elegantly sipping her tea. Slap. 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 MMMMMMH. Glue. A bit more strength, the flank has to redden at each slap of the paddle. "You sure?" Maelstrom asked, worried. "I am not wearing this leather corset just because it makes wonders to show off my figure, honey. But because I know what I am talking about." "Right, Spiky." Rarity answered, huffing. "Yoo-hoo." The bound and gagged dragon answered while still dangling upside down from the ceiling. "Sigh. You heard her, shy sorry." The prince said, sighing. "You know, I used to argue about this place being too much kid-friendly when we finally got to accept your being a horse and living here indefinitely, but now that I saw that they are instead normal living beings with all the downsides, the dark secrets and the well-hidden flaws of the case, I would give my right arm to see them being always that kid-friendly." Harem admitted, sighing and shaking his head. "Do not start this again, furball." Maelstrom thought tiredly in answer. Seeing him looking at her uneasy, Fluttershy gurgled, giving the prince a reassuring smile, or what passed as one given the fact that a red ball was stretching her mouth wide while silencing her. Was it necessary strapping her to the table though? "She is willing to do this," the stallion asked, unsure as he watched her squirm while strapped spread eagle on a table in front of him. "It's a matter of etiquette, you want to do proper BDSM? Then do things properly. Now spank that mare." Rarity answered, growling. Okay. I'll do it." Geez, Maelstrom answered, annoyed as the paddle he was levitating moved sharply forward with almost 10 times more power than before. Slap. 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 Woo-oh. As the last one, the strongest one of the series of spanks, landed on Fluttershy's flank, she immediately erupted into with a loud feral moan, barely muffled by the ball, as the mare's back arched to the point of straining the straps holding her down, before slumping down panting heavily. "Ops," the prince said sheepishly while the shy mare slowly dripped on the floor once the puddle of release under her became too wide. "Arg. I can't work with amateurs." Rarity shrieked as she launched a towel to the drenched alicorn's face, while others moved to clean the floor. "I overdid it, okay, I admit that, but I am still learning," he answered, whining while cleaning himself. The point of this exercise was to get her ready. Not making her climax. Especially with her squirting like a fire hose on my new dungeon-style carpet. It will take ages for those stains to get off. To be honest, she usually doesn't squirt, not that much at least. What now? Sigh. While we wait for Fluttershy to recover, we will go through theory again. I will use Spike to show you in detail how to act with a submissive partner before, during and after intercourse, even if mine refuses to wear a collar in public like yours. The mayor answered while sending a glare to the bound dragon that just huffed and looked away in defiance. Have you two mated? Not yet, he is not ready for that yet. She answered sighing. You will break him someday, don't worry. Maelstrom answered moving his wing on her back in a friendly hug. He still refuses to fully submit to me, what do I have to do? The mayor answered with a miserable expression. You will do it, I believe in you. You do? She said with a touched tone of voice. You are a great mistress, he will break sooner or later, have faith, I know you'll do it. Thank you Maely. Rarity answered finally returning to smile. Why I left those Uchiha books lying around for her to find. I should have burned them, now she discovered her love for this stuff and only wants to do this. Damn human perverts. This is all your fault. Spike thought in defeat. Spiky. We will start with ropes and knots and tickle torture before moving our way upward, like that while teaching Melee I will see if this time you will finally break and fully recognize me as your one and only mistress until the end of time. Rarity said as she pulled Spike down. Crap biscuits. The poor dragon though in dismay as ropes started tying him up by themselves. Later that day with shining armor Nightlight Twilight Velvet residence. In the living room of the house, sitting one in front of the other with a heavy air of solemnity hanging around them, stood Shining Armor, brother of Twilight, and Nightlight, father of both Shining and Twilight, the latter looking at Shining with an uneasy smile while shifting in his seat nervously. Dad? The captain asked as he grew too worried to wait for the other to start talking himself. This is difficult, my son. Nightlight muttered groaning. What's happening? The other asked growing even more worried. You see, Shining, there comes a time in the life of a father where there is the need of a certain talk to be done face to face between stallions with their own son. The older pony said slowly. Dad? You already gave me the talk once was humiliating enough, Shining said with a cautious tone. It was not humiliating. It was, Dad. It always is, I couldn't sleep at night because images about you and Mom kept popping out. Okay, in hindsight it was a little traumatic and humiliating. Knight admitted. But this is not that kind of talk. But one equally important. He then said steeling himself. Equally important. Yes, you see there comes a time where let's say chicks grow up and wish to leave the nest to create their own nest, are you following? The poor father said looking everywhere but towards Shining. More or less, Dad. Well as I said the chicks or mares will always want to leave the nest or house to live in their own nest or library and once there they might meet another bird or stallion. Dad? Please choose either ponies or birds, because I am not following, Shining Armor said groaning. Twilight Velvet, his mother, was, unknowingly to him, doing the same from the kitchen from where she was eavesdropping and silently cursing her husband for beating around the bush in fear of their son's reaction. Shining, Twilight has left the nest, our house. Knight said slowly. Yes, I was aware of this. The other replied rolling his eyes. She has her own nest now. Yes. Library equals nest, I got the reference now. He said annoyed. And she has met a stallion. Nightlight finally said while closing his eyes tight to prepare himself for the explosion. She has friends, I know that, but where is the problem? Shining asked confused. A stallion is a male pony. I know, I am a male and a stallion myself, he answered equally slowly. And Twilight has met one, and they are close. Nightlight said stressing the close as much as he possibly could. So they are friends. No. He answered slowly. But friends. Shining tried again. But Faust, how can he be so dense? It must be his mother's side of the family, none of us was this bad. The old stallion thought in dismay. Dad? Shining this stallion sigh. This stallion is very very important to Twilight. Aha. And as any very important stallion, he may try hammering her nail one of these days. Hammering her nail? Shining repeated in complete confusion. He will squeeze the cream out of her crapfin. The what from where? He will one day mix her hayshik with his spoon. I don't understand. Make her fly the loops with him. Velvet suggested from the other room. Do not interfere, woman. This is man talk. Knight roared in answer. Why has met a Pegasus then? Shining asked in total confusion. Shining, this is already difficult in itself, so listen well and get the full meaning of my words. This stallion will someday cover Twilight's pudding with his mayonnaise. His grrr. His cucumber will one day, with her permission, pierce her donut. Nightlight said with a voice now bordering the growling. Are you hungry, Dad? Shining asked confused. Bucket. The captain's father roared as he jumped to his hooves with a roar of rage. Wah? Twilight has found herself a cold friend and one day they will fuck like animals. You get it now, he will plow her. He will bone her. He will beat her mercilessly. They will go at it like rabbits for hours. He will give it to her hard all night, every night. And sometimes after lunch too if they are in the mood. And he will cram his beep in every hole she will give him access to, which it's easy to say that it will be all of them if she took after your mother until she will walk funny for weeks afterwards. She already decided where and when her cold friend will brutally pop her cherry and he will certainly made her have multiple screaming orgasms again and again and again. It was not so hard to understand, you dim-witted fool. Nightlight screamed in fury at a millimeter of Shining's face, making him topple down the chair from the strength of his voice. A strangled, horrified whimper came out from the wide-eyed soldier's mouth as he unblinkingly looked at the ceiling from his face-up position lying on the floor. Huff. Huff. Sorry, my son. I tried to sugarcoat the news, but you didn't seem to want to get the message. The old stallion said apologetically once recomposed himself. So Twilight has a cult friend. And nothing I will say or do will change things and make her see reason. Like dropping him and remain my innocent pure virgin. Why? Shining asked, getting up and showing a stoic composure. I fear that won't be an option, but unfortunately we can only accept this, son. She has every right to make her choices, and Princess Celestia herself is backing this choice, so you can at least be assured that whoever he is a good pony. Knight answered, nodding. I see, so you don't know who he is. I do know, but I was asked not to tell until Twilight herself will tell you. I understand. Can I have a moment, Dad? I need to think about this, about my precious LSBFF, little sister, best friend forever, Twilight having a cold friend and one day gurgle. Mating with him, Shining Armor said, sounding like being about to puke. I will wait here for you, no matter how long you need, so we will talk about this together. Nightlight said with a gentle smile. Thank you, Dad. Shining answered, walking outside the house. You think he took it well enough? Twilight Velvet asked while peeking in the room from the kitchen. Well, her husband said, unsure. Ooh. Thump. Shining Armor's scream of anguish tore the sky and made earth tremble, while breaking windows left and right as the overprotective big brother in him cried all his despair for the horrible news before the stallion collapsed in a dead faint immediately after. Sigh. Go call a doctor, he hasn't took the news well enough. Night answered, sighing in dismay. You don't say. The mayor answered sarcastically as she hurried outside to call a medic for her overdramatic son. Several hours later with Celestia Canterlot Royal Castle. Celestia was sweating bullets, but not because of fear, anxiety or the mere heat of the day, but because all herself was focusing and keeping a new part of her buried deep in her subconscious as it tried to take over. No, not the corruption, not me, not now. She growled as she grew unsteady on her hooves while her backside, to her confusion and shame, continued growing warmer and wetter. Luna just returned. My nephew just returned, I can't lose them again. She said as she made her way towards her private chambers. She could tell it was corruption as her thoughts were being forcefully directed in unnatural ways, and since she seemed to keep focusing on lust-filled thoughts, she also started wondering if lust itself and her burying her own needs and desire could be the reason. Along watching Maelstrom use his thick and juicy dye. No. Twilight. Twilight. The Sun Alicorn yelled, collapsing on the floor as her face grew redder like she had a strong fever. I need the elements of harmony, if I use them now I won't get corrupted. Will you stop this? Her mouth moved again, but a distorted voice came out, one oozing seduction. No. The princess yelled, shaking her head wildly. It was all you who kept sneaking inside his room to sate your hunger, the other voice whispered, amused. No. It was your influence. It was? You sure? I could come to life only later, only after a week in which you kept licking and suckling on his thing to your heart's content. He was good, wasn't he? He always came so much. No. No. Celestia groaned weakly. So warm you loved feeling it pour down your throat or on your face, like last night when you left him cover you completely, you loved it, don't you? Being marked as his. The Sun Alicorn yelled as in a bout of desperation she managed to teleport away towards Ponyville. Sister? Barely a minute later Luna asked groggily as she walked inside the room with half-lidded eyes. Any pony here? She asked aloud, again yawning. I could swear I heard screaming. This castle is more loud than what I remembered. The Moon Alicorn muttered to herself as she returned towards her room and her very needed sleep after her night activities as Night Princess. Ponyville Everfree Forest. Overshooting and reappearing several meters away from her intended target was something that had not happened ever since Celestia had started studying the whole teleportation spell mechanic, but with her mind basically trying to collapse on itself because each half of it tried to usurp the other, it was a miracle in itself if she managed to only reappear in the middle of the forest. Close, I am close. Soon I will get help. The Alicorn said, elated, before a foul smell made her go green-faced in disgust and almost puke right there on the spot. What the? She gurgled as she followed the disgusting stench until she found the small hut in the woods housing Zecora the zebra. Ugh. It smelled like dead shit. She heard Maelstrom gag in revulsion. Your mating life needs a readjust, so this concoction is a must. Zecora answered amused as her cauldron kept bubbling and emanating a dense green smoke. More than readjusting, I need to not knock the girls up one after another. The prince admitted. It wouldn't be needed for you to do this had you not so much fear for their safe days to miss. The other answered, adding several cuts of a pale pink root, making the thick sludge she was working on turn purple. I have to remember when I can go all the way with Dash, Pinky and AJ, and when I have to be careful. Soon I will have to remember when those days are for Twilight and Fluttershy too. In the end it will be easy for me to mix the dates, and I don't feel ready yet to be a father. Twilight is still pure. I was almost certain that of her virginity as well you had been the cure. Zecora asked surprised. It was an omic. It didn't influence the plot like Rarity and Spike's one did. Maelstrom answered annoyed. And yet I could swear never mind, you know the drill, then add a manliness tier of the intended stallion. So move along and do your job. The tribal pony answered amused and without even attempting a rhyme this time. But this is humiliating. The prince said whining. You want the stuff to work? Then wank one in that cauldron and be done with it. Like always. Kurama replied annoyed. What is he doing eep? Celestia muttered before growing wide-eyed as her nephew took out his thing to aim it at the wooden plate Zecora gave him. Having seen of your release the standard, can I suggest a bucket or would you call me a bastard? Zecora asked smirking. Just shut up and turn around. The wind alicorn hissed with narrowed eyes. Nope. I like to watch. She replied. Am voyeur. The Celestia's horror delight, depending on the side of her took in consideration, an ethereal hand came out of her nephew's horn to grab his thing at the base, before moving up and down faster and faster. Ooh-oh. Ooh. She heard him moan with his eyes closed. Look at him, he needs to do this alone because he has nobody to ask for help. Why don't we go there? I bet Miss Zecora won't need all of it, heavens no he does that too grandly. I am sure leaving us have a mouthful or two won't be a problem. The voice said in Celestia's head. No. The princess answered collapsing again, but her eyes refused to obey and close, forcing her to keep watching until the explosion came to overfilling the dish, making the dense cream spill on the floor and making her heart ache at the supposed waste of that happening. He here. Maelstrom said breathing a little louder than normal. I know it's humiliating, but there is no stronger contraceptive than this, 100% success in blocking pregnancies. Grandma's recipe. Zecora said pouring the whole thing in the cauldron making the potion flash a blinding white light before turning purple and keep bubbling. I love when she doesn't speak in rhymes, she should do that more often. Kurama muttered smirking. Thank you Zecora. What do I owe you this time? The prince asked. No money this time, nor food she answered with a mischievous glint in her eyes. Then what? He asked back in dread. For my services you won't give me money or food, but you'll let me watch as you buck the party pony for good. The zebra answered with a wicked smile. Why you want to watch me doing Pinky? He shrieked with wide eyes. Yes. This will be the payment for a job well done. Watching her snatch overfilled, her flank gaping abused and her mind gone. Zecora said nodding, the fumes of the potion giving her a more terrifying appearance. She wants to watch as you fuck Pinky's brain out. It's not like you have never done that before. You got out easy this time. The Biju said laughing uproariously. Sigh. Okay. I will call you next time I am intimate with Pinky. The prince said sighing in defeat. Very well, now let's make this cool down and it will be read who's there. The zebra started saying before the sound of a twig snapping caught her attention. Rapid as a flash Maelstrom dived for the source of the noise, only to find nothing waiting for him. Nobody's here, an animal maybe? He said unsure. Or a peeper. Zecora added making the former shinobi nod and moved to scan the area. But Celestia halfway towards Twilight's library Ponyville. The sun alicorn ran as fast as she could towards the small town while ignoring what she had just seen her nephew do. Twilight. She heard a well-known voice scream in anger. Shining. The unicorn answered shocked making Celestia stop abruptly right next to the exploded door of the library. Should I make some tea? Spike said unsure. Twilight shining armor growled making the short dragon bolt away still limping for Rarity's recent lesson. Yes? She asked back in confusion. Show me your marehood. He answered darkly. What? Incest. Ooh, that's so kinky. The voice of corruption moaned in Celestia's mind. Oh goodness. The princess muttered with a barely suppressed moan before bolting away and so missing the rest of the discussion. I need to check if you are still virgin. Shining ordered. Of course I am. Twilight answered indignant. How can I be sure? How can I trust your so-called cold friend to not have done something? The soldier said in horror. He would never do that. He is waiting for me to be ready. The mayor answered angrily. Who is he? Shining asked roaring. I won't tell you, not if you act like this. Twilight answered grumbling. Then show me your marehood. Let me check it out. I think I would return later, sorry. A poor mare that had just then entered said unsure as she backed away slowly. No. It's not what it looks like. Twilight said in horror. See what you have done, now every pony will jump to conclusions. I will explain everything to them later, now prove to me you are still my innocent pure wonderful Twi. Shining armor answered nonplussed. Sigh. Horse feathers, this day cannot possibly get worse, she muttered in dismay. Meanwhile outside. No. I mustn't think dirty thoughts. It will make the corruption stronger. The Sun Alicorn muttered in despair as she took distance from the library. Carrots. Eat my carrots. They are long, thick and juicy. A stallion yelled from a near stall as he proudly displayed the almost phallic-shaped vegetables near him. Oh, goodness, the mare whimpered. Eat my carrots. Gobble them down and you'll feel refreshed. The vendor kept saying. Trixie wants one, she is starving. The former show mare said eagerly. One, missy. Any preference? He asked smiling gently. They're biggest, thank you. Trixie loves them huge. Here it is. Do you like it? Is it big enough? The stallion asked smirking. That's a pretty big one actually, Trixie fears it won't even fit in her mouth. The mare said honestly impressed, making the vendor puff out his chest in pride. We of the carrot family have a gift for big ones, thank you. He answered smugly. No. Unseen by them, but clearly heard, Celestia simply teleported away to escape the conversation. What was that? Gentle carrot, the farmer asked confused. Trixie doesn't know, how much for the snack? The mare said shrugging uncaring. Ah. That. 2 bits, have care. You too, and please send Trixie's best regards to your wife. She answered walking away. Will do, and you tell your colt friend, whoever he is, that he is a lucky stallion. Trixie will, do not worry. She answered smirking. TCH. Dirty mare. The other answered chuckling. But Celestia Apple Family Acres. The poor and by now in hormonal hyperdrive, princess finally stopped running, once reached the outermost corner of the vast acres of apple trees belonging to AJ's family to find the element of honesty herself, arguing with her little sister. You weren't supposed to see that. AJ hissed in anger. You and big brother Melee were doing it in the open. Me and Scottaloo literally walked on you. You know how embarrassed I was, Apple Bloom answered with a red face. Big brother. You were mating, does not that mean you will marry? The filly asked. Oh, one day yes, but you're still too young to see that. Scottaloo too. And what about you saying those things? Things, AJ shrieked. Why, you know, harder. Faster. Break my bud. Those things. Apple Bloom answered, blushing harder. Oh, goodness, AJ muttered in dismay, deflating to sit on the floor. Who does it really feel that good? The filly asked, honestly curious. Yeah. The other answered in total defeat. Can I try it too when I am older? With Melee, why? AJ yelled in horror. He can multiply if he can create copies to do that, with you alone he can do that with the two of us. Come on. Like that you'll tell me what to do. Apple Bloom answered with an innocent expression. Oh. AJ moaned as she fainted as the discussion became too much for her to bear. Ooh. A threesome with 2 sisters. And he can turn it in a gangbang by himself. I totally forgot about his cloning power. Inner Celestia said aroused. Ay. Yelling as strong as she could, Celestia ran away, scaring Apple Bloom to the core. What was that, Big Mac? Help. Big Mac. The filly said, scared as she tried to wake up her sister. At night, Canterlet. It was almost night time when Celestia finally returned to the royal castle, stumbling and tripping on her hooves while panting, her tongue hanging down her mouth, drooling, while her snatch continuously dripped arousal on the floor. Ah. The princess moaned with clouded eyes as she opened the door of her bedroom with just enough strength to then collapse on her bed. Hehehe. It was then that she heard Rainbow Dash giggle while tiptoeing in front of her door. Dash. The Sun Alicorn muttered as she came out to follow the mare. Following her through the corridors of the castle, she saw her enter one of smallest rooms with a dazzling smile on her face, well dressed in a skin-tight bodysuit. Confused about the whole thing, the Sun Alicorn neared the door to listen while spying from the keyhole, hearing a clearly fake gasp, followed by a low laugh. What do we have here? A dirty thief forced her way in. Maelstrom said with a lecherous smile. Oh, no. Dash said as the prince tackled her to the floor. Nobody steals from the castle. I'll have to punish you. He said, licking her neck. Oh, please. I'll do everything you want. Just don't hurt me. Oh, it will hurt the right way. And no. By now mentally exhausted, Celestia tried to return to her room with shaking steps before collapsing on the floor, convulsing after only few steps. Come on. Give in. No. Give in. Let me guide you and everything under the sun shall belong you. And every pony under the sun will belong to you. It's time for Celestia too to be satisfied. For you to feel good. Dash. Dash. Oh, Melee. Iron. Harder. Harder. Give me more. Can you hear them? Can you hear the sound? The sound of a mare giving into passion. Why should a Verpany feel good but not you? What right do they have to deny you your pleasure? It's high time you take what you have always worked so hard for. Ega. Celestia whimpered as she felt her body burn like fire. Ah. Ah. As she kept listening to the moans and grunts of the lovers mating behind the door, the Sun Alicorn started panting on time with them, even bucking her butt backwards, as if meeting the thrusting of an invisible stallion. Yes. Yes. Like that. Breath in deeply the scent of them going at it. Soon it will be you and only you the one to enjoy this wonderful scent, the voice said with a warm and pleased tone. Coming. Something's coming. Celestia moaned out with her eyes closed tightly. It's your new life, the new you. Enjoy it my dear, it's time to finally start enjoying life, the voice said before disappearing as the two Celestias fused into one. Oh. The Sun Alicorn moaned as she felt herself climax for the first time in hundreds of years, feeling each drop as it left her body and run down her back legs, forming a puddle way too large to be normal. In fact, the puddle of female release kept enlarging more and more until it encompassed her and incredibly, made her sink into it completely and disappear fully under the surface. Who's there? A male soldier hissed as he grew curious by the ruckus and entered the same corridor to investigate. Ifufufufu. A jovial, seductively soft laugh came as an answer as from the puddle the corrupted Celestia made a reappearance. She now had a more pinkish fur and a mane done in various shades of pink, even her cutie mark had changed into a heart-shaped sun covered in red chains. Why you are not Princess Celestia, who the hey are you? The scared guard said, taking a step back. You look cute enough to eat, she answered, moving closer and opening her wings wide. Stay back. The now heavily sweating stallion said, unable to move. I am your queen, don't you recognize me? Celestia asked with a pout as each feather of her wings started to softly vibrate, making their color change from pink to white in a series of hypnotizing patterns, while also making a thin mist generate around her and the guard. What's this? The stallion said weakly as his eyes went half-lidded and he started swaying on his hooves. Breath in deeply the scent of your queen. You are mine. The Alicorn purred in his ears, making him moan. Then no, he tried saying as his own cutie mark slowly got covered by the same chains of Celestia's new mark. Yes, you can give in instead. She answered, licking his ear. Yes, I can give in. The guard finally admitted before developing a look of deep adoration. Mistress. He then said, dropping down in complete submission. Good boy. Move along, I will need your cooperation if I want my new kingdom of lust to be born. Celestia said, pleased as she walked away. Yes, mistress, the guard answered, hurrying to follow behind her with his eyes glued to her flank. You. Contrary to my sister and Nightmare Moon, I will be more discreet in my plans, so we'll need to not be too open, are you following? She said. Yes, my mistress. Good. You will help me in this by stealing one of Discord's precious Icha books for me to tinker with. For my plans to work, I'll need that pesky Draconicus too to be dealt with swiftly and immediately. Everything you want, my mistress. The stallion said, unable to resist temptation and trying to lick her flank, only to receive a strong kick to his mouth that launched him way back. No. You are still unworthy. Do not dare do something like this ever again. Celestia hissed, furious. I am sorry, my mistress. This worm won't try it again. The guard answered immediately. Bring me what I ask you and maybe I will forgive you. Do as I ask and I will let you lick one of my hooves of your choosing. She answered with a cruel smile. Yes, I will do it. All for that honor. The guard said immediately before bolting out to fulfill his mission. You. Good. Now, I will need to cover myself in the guise of my old pathetic form, but it will be a minor sacrifice I will be able to endure until my plan will be successful. Then I will only need to deal with Luna and the elements of harmony and make sure my dear nephew will also comply with my needs. I can't leave the biggest beep in Equestria get wasted on a worthless mare like Rainbow Dash, some pony unable to fully appreciate it. That and take care of every other male around. I saw too many wasted stallions nowadays. Yes, I know those poor boys will find a better lover in me. The queen of lust. The Sun Alicorn said to herself with a pleased smile. Sorry girls, but what Queen Celestia wants Queen Celestia gets. You. The corrupted Alicorn said as her soft laugh echoed ominously in the corridors of the castle, unfortunately unheard by Dash or Maelstrom, as both were deep asleep while cuddling each other. Chapter end. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Peace out.